Party Next Door is probably one of my favorite R&B acts of the previous decades, and it's my favorite OVO artist and my favorite OVO R&B artist. So it's no surprise that I'm kind of wondering what the fuck he's doing right now and when we're gonna get another record. Nonetheless, though, I've been listening to a lot of P&D, and I felt like breaking down an R&B beat today with an acoustic guitar that I feel is a perfect fit for Party Next Door. So let's go. What's good, beautiful folks? Welcome back into Logic Pro X. My name is Valentine the Plug, and it's a beautiful day to break down this beat, and it's an even better day to break down this Party Next Door type beat. You can already see the guitar though posted up right here, and the rest of my arrangement is basically just 2 layers of keys and a bass and a vocal sample. So it's kind of spacey. I'm not really going for that wavy sound that you're probably used to from Party Next Door. I think that if you want to reference this beat, get a general feel of what I'm inspired by, you should listen to Come and See Me by Party Next Door featuring Drake. So with that being said, I'm gonna just break down the sample, the chord progression, the rest of it, and then we proceed onto the drums. Yay. Also, I do want to reiterate, beautiful people, if you love what I'm doing, if you even remotely like what I'm doing, please like, share, and subscribe. Your boy would definitely appreciate that. So without further ado, we are moving on to my chord progression. I'm gonna take out my piano right here. Hold up, let me just go with my sound selection. For the first patch, I used the vocoder V from the V collection by Arturia. It's from V collection 8. So if you don't want to go to V9 right now, since you can't find a reason to upgrade, you can just stick to V8. My piano also comes from the V collection, is the piano V2. Most of the longtime viewers know that I'm big on Contact, but I'm starting to warm up to the piano V2, and I'm using the mini V3 as my bass patch, which I'm gonna break down in a few. But now, finally, chord progression. I am rocking with a D sharp minor 7 chord right here, inverted. That goes, 1/2 step up in terms of root notes into this E major 7 chord right here, and that then lands on what I think is actually the 2nd degree in the scale that I'm working with, which is a C sharp minor 9th chord right here. Boom. And after that, that goes into this E diminished 7 chord right here. So if I had to figure, I think I'm working in the key of B major. That means that a chord based on the D sharp is my 3rd degree, a chord based on my E is my 4th degree, then a chord based on the C sharp is the 2nd degree, because the 2nd degree is always a minor chord in the major scale, and then I go back to that 4th degree again, but I play it diminished, so it's kind of altered actually. So these are the 4 chords that I'm rocking with. Let me just play it for y'all, of course. Next thing I did, of course, I took out this patch in the vocoder. This is actually the first time ever I've used the vocoder from the V collection, so I still have a lot to discover in the V collection. And I took out this patch, which on my heart, because I think that it's perfect if you want kind of a Party Next Door kind of sound. Now, I think that if you really want to create textures and wavy sounds like you hear on Party Next Door's productions, you really gotta look into the choirs and the vocals and filter them to the point where they just become textures and soundscapes, which is exactly what this patch gave me. Let me just play it for y'all. Still though, having a good ass vocal sample unfortunately did not stop me from going to Splice and looking for a dope vocal sample that I can use. My processing on this vocal sample was pretty minimal. I used the filter shaper from Shaperbox to really just mangle the sound, have the frequencies just phasing in and out. I used the vocal doubler because I did want it to be a little bit more wider and a little bit more present in my mix as well. And then I just EQ'd all the frequencies that I thought were unnecessary, because I really like to shave off a lot of my vocal samples so that only the mid frequencies remain. So if I play the entire sample with the processed guitar, it sounds like So y'all know me to keep it very simple with my drums, and I think that's something that you also hear in Party Next Door's productions. The beat that he sings to, they are not known for their drum bounce, even though they have drums that really accentuate the rest of the canvas that's already there. So I mostly stuck to the kits that I usually use. I went for a regular 16 note hi-hat pattern where I played with the velocity. You can see I split it up right here. So let me just play y'all the entire drum pattern. So I guess if I had to give y'all a tip, I would say don't be afraid to introduce a little bit of hip hop bounce elements in your Party Next Door type beats. I mean, the R&B that he makes is on that is they once classified it as PB R&B or alternative R&B, but basically it's because it's not discernible as regular R&B, whatever the fuck that means. What I'm trying to say is don't feel limited by whatever you think R&B is in terms of your drums. So just introduce different drum bounces, whatever you feel like. As long as there's rhythm and there's blues, it's R&B to me. Feel me? Cool. So with the bass being the only obstacle I had to tackle, I just took out the Mini V3, which is easily becoming one of my favorite instruments next to the Scarby Rickenbacker bass in Contact to get bass patches from, and next to Sublab, of course, for my 808s. I just browsed a couple of patches because they have a lot of bass patches in this. I eventually stumbled across this one, didn't change a thing, just played a couple of very simple extended bass notes, which eventually ended up sounding like this. Now, if I had to give y'all a fundamental arrangement tip, I would say that letting the beat breathe is very important. So that also means that not having your elements playing all the time at the same time during the entire beat. You gotta switch it out. I essentially have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers that contain harmonic elements, and I am free to switch them out as much as I want. You can see I do that a little bit. I introduce the bass a little bit later, but this part is really fundamental, where I essentially cut out the guitar and have it alternate between the vocal sample and the guitar, the vocal sample, and then back the guitar and then the vocal sample at the end again. So you get kind of a call and response kind of thing, which I think is very cool and really allows the beat to breathe, and the artist can use this specific part as a more intimate little part where they're actually really conversing with the listener. Feel me? So, don't be afraid to think about arrangement in your beats. I mean, yes, it is still a cooperative process with the artist, but you are still free to conduct your vision however you want. Yo, and that concludes this breakdown of what I feel is just a simple and essential Party Next Door type beat, beautiful people, and I definitely low-key think it could feature Drake or another artist. Now, if you enjoyed this, like I said at the beginning of the video, I would definitely appreciate a like, a share, and or a subscribe, but most definitely I hope to see y'all in the next vid. Peace.